Today's episode is all about one word we hear constantly in spiritual spaces: energy. People say, your energy feels off, or that place had weird energy, or protect your energy. But what does that actually mean? Is energy just emotion, vibration, mood, science, spirituality? Or is it something we're sensing intuitively but struggling to explain? In this episode, we're diving into the many layers of energy, how we feel it, how it affects us, how other people's energy can drain or inspire us, and why learning to work with energy may be one of the most important skills on a spiritual path. And as always, we're asking the question, are you psychic too? Hey, star people. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Cliff, but I could not do this without my two co-hosts, Jenni and Kelsey. How are you guys doing today?
Feeling energetically up.
I'm doing great.
Okay, all right. There we go. So today's topic is energy, and yes, that's a very big topic, and I can almost guarantee you that we will come back to this topic more than once. So people use the word energy to describe a huge range of experiences. Sometimes they mean the emotional atmosphere in a room, maybe a sudden mood shift, body language, tension, calmness, someone's presence or their charisma, or even an intuitive feeling that they can't quite explain. We may all define it differently, but most people, whether you're deeply spiritual or totally skeptical, have experienced walking into a space or meeting a person and instantly feeling something. So let's talk about energy. Let's start with, how do you guys define or describe energy?
I feel like this is a difficult question to wrap up in one answer.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think what resonates most for me is that it is consciousness interacting beyond the material or matter. So something going on that's invisible to us that interacts with other forms of energy.
Interesting.
I'll say a quote that I love.
Okay.
We are slowed down sound and light waves, a walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. We are souls dressed up in a sacred biochemical garment, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music.
Oh, who said that?
Yeah, who did say that?
Albert Einstein, my birthday twin.
Yeah, birthday twin.
Yeah, he's a 314er.
Okay.
I think that is a beautiful kind of poetic way to say that without the soul, our body doesn't have the energy anymore, and that's why it goes back to the earth.
Oh,
But
very
when
interesting.
it has the soul, it's got the energy, which is consciousness.
I like that. Kels, what do you think? What do you think of energy?
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about that. But yeah, I guess like if something doesn't have life anymore, it's not emitting energy. And so I work with energy every single day. And it's a really hard thing to define or even explain like what it is. And so I guess when I tune into it, it's information that's happening in our consciousness or maybe even subconscious that's kind of being projected outward into our field, you know? And so we're kind of like giving off this energy, whether it's like our thoughts or something that's bothering us, or I don't know, maybe something that's making us really happy. Like we don't have to talk about it, you know?
It's felt.
It's felt.
Yeah.
It's unspoken. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know it. Have you guys ever met someone who instantly made you feel comfortable, or the opposite?
As in bad energy?
Yeah. Like just the energy just hit you instantly.
It's interesting for me when I ask, even in dream characters, you know, when interpreting dreams, you know, and someone says, oh, this guy was there, I'll say, oh, describe him in 3 words. And those 3 words choices are always interesting to me because they always end up describing the energy of the being, not the appearance of the being. And so that's an unconscious move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's unconscious for us to say, oh, she was so joyful. Well, that's an energy, right?
Yeah.
Or he was a downer. What does that mean? He took my energy down, you know?
Yeah.
And so we talk about energy without even knowing it. And definitely there are people with lower vibration or negative energy or thought forms, you know, not even the individual thoughts, but thought forms that we send out. You know, you said, Cliff, I can read the room.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell if someone doesn't like me. How do you explain that?
Exactly. I mean, this feeling, whether it's mystical, psychological, or biological, the experience is very deeply human. And that's the feeling I get when I go into a big room of a bunch of people. I can kind of suss out who are the people that I can hang with and who are the people I should avoid. And I don't know what I don't know what it is. It's just like something just says, okay, walk this way, don't walk that way. But I couldn't define it like, oh, it's, you know, ABC. That's what makes me do it. It's just a feeling on my part.
Kels?
Yeah. Well, it's before we started the podcast, Jenny, you asked Kelsey something up.
Yes, I
Like,
did.
that was my energy putting out to you guys. Like I was bothered.
Yes, I can feel
Something
it.
happened when I walked into the office. So, like, I mean, it's kind of cool how that works, but it's also like you can't hide. Once you're aware of what energy is and when you're working with it, like you're picking up stuff all the time. You're just more aware about it.
Right. And because you are an uplifting energy, and I didn't feel that immediately, I went, oh, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Right. That's interesting.
It stood out. Yeah. It was like, wait, what's going on? It's kind of like, you know, going to the party and the happiest person you know is just sitting there, you know, eating a piece of cake, sadly.
Oh.
And aw.
It was good. It was good cake. Don't get me wrong.
Cake sounds good right now.
That's so funny. You guys are reminding me of this one time where in elementary, I was in this class where we had to sing. I think it's just a requirement. We're all meant to, like, we all have to sing. And the music person, the one teaching us the song, I think I was really bothered, like, because I'm really conscious about my voice. But I think this person was very vigilant about energy and how people's moods are being affected. And she knew, like, she picked me out. She like pulled me to the side. She's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. Or when people say, you know, you're not you today. What does that mean? You're not you today. Oh. And then it's becoming aware of the energy we're putting out that makes it, but it's just not easy to define in language.
No. And some experiences that we call energy may actually be our nervous systems reading subtle cues. We're constantly picking up on things like facial expressions, tone of voice, body tension, shifts in the environment without even realizing it. Human beings are incredibly sensitive to emotional contagion, and that's where people unconsciously catch and mirror the emotions of others around them. You've seen it when somebody comes into a room and they're super happy, and then suddenly a couple seconds later, everybody in the room is really happy. Or the broader version, environmental awareness, where your ability to sense and respond to the overall atmosphere of a place or situation. So sometimes we describe, or what we describe as bad energy or good vibes, may just be our bodies intuitively processing information before our minds fully catch up.
I'd like to bring up mirror neurons.
What are those?
So mirror neurons are defined by different experts in different ways, but essentially they are the basis biologically for interpersonal connection, how we feel what others feel. And one of my favorite psychologists, Dan Siegel, says, he explains that when our mirror neurons fire in tandem with someone else's, it wires us together. What fires together wires together, fostering an emotional regulation and deeply attuned presence together. So it's essentially how you feel what another person's energy is. So if someone, and it leads to empathy. So there's actually mirror neurons in the brain that identify what another energy is and mirror it in order for them to feel safe, if that makes sense, or felt, in order for them to be felt. So if someone in the party, like you mentioned, is crying in the corner and not eating cake, right?
Not eating cake?
No, they're just too sad.
Okay.
And they're crying in the corner, but everyone else is having fun. To me, as an empath, I would beeline over to that person and I would automatically probably do a facial expression that was like, oh my God, it's sad. And because I'm mirroring her in order for her to feel seen, if that makes sense. And I automatically say it's a her. That's kind of funny. So this helps with connection in our relationships. I'll say relational and resonance. And when it's as if our senses or that's kind of debatable whether it's our senses or our feelings, but it is entirely possible that behind the perception of our senses, worlds are hidden of which we are unaware.
Oh, definitely.
Very interesting. Is this a psychology standpoint or perspective? Is this
It
something
is.
you studied?
It is. I did. I love mirror neurons because you'll understand this, Kels. So when we have a baby, an infant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are looking at it and just admiring the baby and it's looking back at us. When they say, oh, or ah, I don't know if you found yourself, but I guarantee you were doing the same facial expression back.
I know exactly what you're going.
Making the same sound back. That lets the infant know it's still connected to you because infants actually don't know they're separate beings from their mother until about 1.5 years old. That's where the terrible twos come from.
Now, I also do that. Does this also apply to animals? Because I do the same thing with facial mirroring with dogs.
It's highly, how do I say that? Exercised or done by empaths more than others because it leads directly to empathy. When you feel more for another, you've got higher empathy.
Oh, okay.
So when you do it to animals, it's because, well, you're an animal communicator, but we won't go into that. But so when you do that to animals, it's because you're getting on their level and saying, hey, I see you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes them feel seen. And then you see them. It's a connection.
Yeah, they always like it. They
love it.
Or most always like it. There's one.
And babies love it. They've done tests where it's just so awful. It's called still face, where a mom is interacting with her toddler in a high chair. And then the mom stops responding and just has a flat face. And the baby dysregulates, starts crying, screaming, and doesn't know what to do because the mom has taken away the connection of attuning to the baby. It's called still face exercise. I mean, it's fascinating to watch, but
what does science say from that?
That she removed the mirror neurons consciously, and it disturbed the baby's regulative process.
Interesting.
And made them panic and not feel safe.
Oh,
okay,
so interesting.
So how about intuition and instinct? Are those the same thing?
No, I think instincts is more about survival. I think your instincts, it's kind of like just how do we survive in this moment in time or whatever. But your intuition, I think it's more about a connection that you have with yourself and your higher self.
Yeah, I agree. I think instinct is body knowledge, like ancient body knowledge, survival, like you were saying. And intuition is that higher connection, that connection to a higher level of who you are and how you exist.
Right. Yeah. As animals, we have instinct, but as humans with conscious minds, we've actually listened a lot less to our animal instinct and more to logical brain function. But animals, if they are so true to their instinct, cats especially, that is their intuitive function. Does that make sense?
Give me. I'm not sure I get that one.
Because they don't have a conscious brain. Most animals, dolphins and whales and And some animals would recognize themselves in a mirror, but most animals do not.
Right.
So they're not conscious of themselves as far as them being separate from their instinct.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've seen all those videos of cats trying to jump into their mirror reflection.
It's hilarious.
On YouTube.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And yet whales and elephants, oddly enough, recognize themselves.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's interesting because it's like you're explaining what's happening psychically, but like through your psychology. So I would say like, it's definitely the same thing. Like if I were tapping into somebody's energy, like it's happening the same way, right? But I just couldn't put that in words. But it's like you just gave a scientific background of how that works. So that's interesting.
Right. From my point of view.
Yeah.
And from your point of view, when you're working with energy, you sometimes see it.
Yeah. I can see the energy.
Yeah.
I think it's, but when I'm walking up to somebody, I don't know that that's actually happening, but that's when I'm picking it up. And I think this is why I call everything energy, because I'm like, well, it's just the energy around them that they're projecting or not projecting and trying to hide. I don't know. You know,
I think you call everything energy because everything is energy.
Yes. And the body frequently recognizes truth before the mind organizes language around it. So we'll feel that someone's off or has bad energy or bad intention, but we don't know why.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, spirituality takes this conversation further. Many spiritual traditions teach that everything carries a vibration or frequency, including our thoughts, emotions, intentions, and even the spaces we spend time in. Concepts like the aura suggest that people radiate energetic fields that can be sensed or influenced, while practices like energy healing and Reiki are based on the idea that energy can be balanced, directed, and restored. In many spiritual paths, presence and intention are considered powerful forces that can deeply affect both ourselves and the people around us. So, have you guys ever felt a strong shift around someone without any obvious reason? Or do you think that people can affect the atmosphere around them?
Yeah, definitely.
How so?
Other than just this morning when I walked in and Jenny was like, something wrong? But I think in others, and this is where I have a lot of issues with people who are not very honest. It's because this is how I was convinced that I was always wrong about my intuition, right?
Me too.
So if I see a friend and I say, oh, is something wrong? And they said, no, everything's fine. I'm like, I'm just making something a big deal when it's really not. Like it's me, right? And then you convince yourself that these feelings are not real.
That's right. And it's interesting that you said that about truth, because the nonverbal language we have is about 90% of language. It's not actually what we say verbally. It's as if someone just say, I love you, but they said it in a hateful voice, like, I love you. Well, that's not going to resonate as love.
Or just a facial expression. When you really know somebody, they just have to look at you and you know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, if I came into an energy session, to meet you guys one day and I was sulking but said, I feel great today, like that doesn't match. And so as children, when we believe our parents, we disregard instinct and intuition because they're the boss.
Yeah.
They keep us safe. Yeah.
So I try really hard with my kids to always be honest, even if something's really bothering me, just because I want them to listen to their intuition.
Absolutely.
Honesty is hard, though. It's because it's so easy to lie to yourself, you know?
Well,
but you have to be clever when you lie. When you say the truth, you don't have to be clever.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's much easier. And
that's actually true. I'm like, there's some things I don't want my kids to know. Like, I don't want them to know if I'm getting into a fight with my husband.
No.
Right.
What you tell them, but you can still be honest and say, like, oh, we're just having a disagreement right now. And it's frustrating.
And then that validates what they feel energetically.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, you don't have to talk about certain things. Like, I
you don't have to be specific.
Recently, I was said something about sex with my son, and he's 27.
What?
He goes, stop. I can't. Mom, just stop. I don't want to hear about your sex life. I'm like, oh, okay. Guess we,
But he wants to
the
tell you
lack
about
thereof.
his.
We talk about his all the time because I was a sex therapist. So, he knows that. But when it comes to mine, he's like, I don't need any visuals. Nope, you're my mom. Well, so that makes sense.
People don't just talk about energetic people, though. They also talk about energetic places. Most of us have experienced walking into a peaceful forest and instantly feeling calmer, or maybe entering a building that somehow feels uncomfortable or heavy without knowing exactly why. Childhood homes definitely carry emotional memories. Hospitals, they hold intense emotional energy. And sacred spaces can create a deep sense of stillness, reverence, or connection. Whether we see it as psychology, spirituality, or a mix of both, places can absolutely affect how we feel. So how do you guys feel about, have you ever walked in somewhere and immediately wanted to leave or felt completely at home?
When I get off the plane in Hawaii, I'm like, and a lot of people say this and they can't explain it either. Yeah. But there is some energy on those islands, and everyone has their favorite, but where I just feel safe at home. Honestly, I feel like it was at least my home in some life, and I've spent a lot of time there. But that's a place where I think that energy must be on a resonance with my own energy. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's matching, But that's what I would say about that. The negative energy, I was looking at a house one time in Palm Springs and walked in, and I was looking around going, well, I'd really have to redo these floors. And I hear this old lady's voice go, "You're not touching my floors. Those are my floors." And I'm like, I can't look at this place. This lady will be here, the spirit. So she was really mad that I was even looking to move into her house and I had to leave. And I imagine energetically people feel that without hearing her voice, maybe, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what about you? Great explanation. I mean, I guess so. I think if I think about when I went to Florida, I took my family there. I was like, wow, there's so many people in just one spot, in the airport. But yeah, it was lots of stress. It's like high anxiety, very stressful. Everybody's on a rush, and it's not like that here at home in Hawaii.
Right.
I just
remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, finish. I'm sorry.
I just remember coming back home from that trip and being like, oh my God. Yeah. People know everybody and there is aloha everywhere. There's just so much love and so much, kindness.
You feel, if you named it, it was be kindness, but it's aloha. That's the best way to describe it. What does aloha mean?
Aloha means love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think, doesn't it mean like a wind of love?
Well, okay, so if you want to really break it down, alo is like your face, and ha is your breath.
Breath,
and
I knew
it's
it.
Actually, exchange of breath. So
yes,
exchange of life.
Wait, that is the perfect way to describe energy. Mm-hmm. Aloha. But Cliff, didn't you say something about big concerts? How you're a musician, and yet big concerts affected you, and why?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of big crowds in general. I never really have been, and I think that's because of the way I pick up on the energy of everybody there. But I was thinking of, as you guys were telling your stories, I was suddenly, 12 years old, skating out to center ice at 4:30 in the morning in where I grew up. And I would do this every time at practice. I would get up, get my gear on, be the first one on the ice. And the ice had the ice had been frozen all night. So it was just like glass. It was beautiful. And I would skate out and I would just skate as fast as I could to center ice and then drop onto my bum and then slide all the way to the boards at the other end. And that just gave me such a feeling. It was like, I'm here, I'm home, I belong, and it was just like, and I didn't realize until you guys were telling your stories, because I was thinking I've got lots of negative stories about that, but do I have good stories about that? It's like, oh yeah.
You felt home on the hockey ice.
Yeah.
That's really great. And also I think that your sense of home might be just in the act of play.
How so? What do you mean?
Like that is such a playful thing to do.
Oh.
Most people avoid falling on their bums on the ice.
Oh, my goal was, it was my way of testing how good they had made the ice the night before. If I could slide from center ice all the way and hit the boards with my skates, the ice was good. If I got stuck in a wet spot before I got to the end, it was like somebody didn't do their job right last.
No one wants to get stuck in the wet spot.
Okay.
There is a place here on Kauai.
Oh. Not a wet spot, I hope.
No.
Introduce the Ruru.
No, go ahead, Kelsey. What were you going to say?
There is a place here on Kauai that even feels more magical than like landing in Hawaii. And it's in Kokee. And I think what makes it so magical is that it's so disconnected from the world. There's no reception up there. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no phones. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So like you're just completely immersed in nature, and that feeling, like it's crazy how good it feels.
That waterfall that we went to.
Yeah, that made me think of the waterfall, right? When you were saying
it did? Interesting.
Because remember that we met that guy who was there and he was doing backflips and all sorts of crazy stuff off the thing, diving into the water. I was talking to him afterwards and I said, he was saying, oh, I just live down the street. He goes, this is my church.
Yes, and that's what my son says about the ocean surfing. Church.
No.
And that is home. Because when you're closest to source or whatever your higher power is, God, that is home.
Let's talk about energy workers and healing for a second. So for many people, this conversation about energy becomes deeply personal through the experience of working with energy healers or practitioners. Energy workers, whether they practice Reiki, healing touch, sound healing, chakra work, or other modalities, they all believe that the body and mind can be influenced by subtle energetic balance and intention. Some people experience these sessions as deeply calming, emotionally releasing, spiritually grounding, while others view them more through the lens of relaxation, mindfulness, or maybe nervous system regulation. Regardless of how someone interprets it, the growing interest in energy work, and there is a big growing interest in energy work, reflects something very human: the desire to feel more balanced, connected, supported, and at peace. Have you guys ever had an experience with an energy worker or a healer that genuinely surprised you?
Yeah. That was my first psychic reading. She did a sound healing right after. Like after she read my energy, she laid me on her table and then she did her sound healing.
And what was that like?
That was the first time I felt clear.
Oh,
Like I wasn't worried about nothing. I went into it stressed, sad, feeling alone, and then I left feeling grounded, peaceful.
Connected?
Connected.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That is true. I've had Reiki sessions that were Reiki massage or even non-touch Reiki. And one of them, I was crying and I had no idea why. But the body traps trauma and little feelings that maybe are suppressed or trapped in one of your chakras. And so Reiki's really good at removing or clearing that. And Kelsey does clearing work too. And you do feel more balanced or aligned.
Yeah. Do you think that energy healing works through spirituality, psychology, the nervous system, or maybe a combination of the three?
Yeah, I think it's a combo of all three. When I do my energy clearings, it's moving energy, but also like identifying the wounding, which it associates with, right? So there's some psychology behind it.
That's the work. That's the work. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the work. And then calming down the nervous system to identify what that is specifically,
Somatic work through the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between somebody having a calming presence naturally versus intentionally working with healing energy? I think I answered the question by asking.
I think that it comes down to resonance with that individual, whether your personal vibration or frequency is attuned with theirs. Because if I'm a frantic, chaotic mess, right? I'm not going to go to an individual who's a healer that's also a chaotic, frantic mess, because that would just be craziness.
That's an oxymoron. Is there a frantic, chaotic healer?
They
Yes.
they might not be aligned that day. They've got their own
okay.
issues.
Oh, okay.
Threw them off their game.
Right.
Also, like, how many stories or healers that you've heard of that present like, oh, it's all about love and peace, and then they're the first people at the freaking school protesting because something didn't go right for their kid, you know?
Right.
But
Or
in
like
a very negative way. I'm not
Yeah.
saying like it's in a positive, like we're here to advocate for the kids. It's probably like,
no, because they want to be right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I know exactly what kind of person you're. It's the kind of person who hands you a card and it says shaman on it. You know, their
Neo shaman.
Yeah, or guru. You know, it's like, okay, yeah.
I am a guru. You know, it's like, what? You know,
Yeah.
I don't think gurus call themselves that. You know,
and now that I think about it, I'm like, it's a responsibility of all healers to heal their wounds.
Oh my
Because
gosh,
you
absolutely.
can only operate at that level for which your wounds are there, you know?
Exactly. In getting my degrees for psychology, they make you get your own therapy before you can become a therapist.
That makes
Yeah,
a lot of
you
sense.
can't become a
You have
healer
to.
without
You have
healing yourself,
Right.
at least to some extent before.
Right.
First.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing journey. And so to
It
admit
is.
that we're fallible and, hey, you know, I probably share too much, but with clients, I'll be like, oh, I totally get that. I've been through that. But that's another way to mirror
right.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about modern life and energy. Now, one thing that feels very real in modern life now is overstimulation. Between social media, constant notifications, nonstop noise, and the pressure to always be connected, many people feel emotionally overloaded and mentally exhausted. Our attention gets fragmented in so many directions that it becomes harder to feel grounded, present, or even rested. What many people describe as low energy may actually be anxiety, burnout, nervous system fatigue, or simply reality of living in a world that rarely slows down. Do you guys think that people today are energetically exhausted?
Oh, yeah.
I think there is so much overstimulation. Scrolling through phones is an addiction, actually. And
It's called doom scrolling.
right. And our brains cannot process all of that information, but it tries.
Right.
And so you'll end up just feeling anxious because you can't accomplish that, even if it's unconscious, trying to accomplish that. And being energetically drained can be from burnout. It can also be from being too much empathetic to people that don't have the empathy, and then you're taking on their job.
Right.
You know, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had the craziest dream last night that's related to this.
Oh, yay.
Oh my God. So I had a dream that I had 2 Apple phones that I gave to 2 boys and it wasn't working properly. Okay. So that's what I knew that happened. But when I looked at the phone, it was in a plastic container and in a box with a picture of like a bitten apple, and it was rotting.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I know. So, okay. So this is when I was interpreting it this morning. What I got was the container's unnatural, right? So it's an unnatural source of information.
A limiting
And-
source.
Yeah, the Apple brand. So
But
like the
see-through.
Apple phone, Apple cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rotting
yeah.
part is like the apple rots. Like, so I'm thinking about children, like apple doesn't far from the apple tree. Or
Oh,
was the
I
saying,
see what you did there.
And how it's,
So do you don't think that your phone is broken, or that your telepathy, because of the telephone, is somehow not as healthy with one of the boys because that was the only one rotting?
no.
Okay.
No, I didn't take it like that. What I took it is like, don't get my kids cell phones.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rotten apples.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
I was taking that away too, that it was like, that's not good. Rotting apple, not good.
Oddly enough, my hell that I used to describe, like if I could describe a hell, it would be being in a large acrylic box like you just described, and no one can hear or see me, but I'm in there alone in this busy area and I'm trying to get the attention. And that's just my own injuries. But that is kind of what you described. Apple was in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could see it, but you couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
So maybe that was about not getting the phone, that would be too much stimulation for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one, in part of the dream, there was one boy who left it behind, and I picked it up, and that's when I saw it, and I was like, this is not good.
Oh, they weren't your boys?
No.
Interesting.
Well, regardless of beliefs, there are certain things that noticeably affect how we feel. Spending time in nature can calm and reset us. Music can completely change your emotional state. I know you guys know that. And practices like meditation or breath work can help quiet the mind and regulate the nervous system, which is what you did, Kelsey, to get in the mood before we started today. So simple things like getting enough sleep, moving our bodies through exercise, sitting in silence, or basically having honest conversations. Here we are, go back to honesty again. They can dramatically shift our mood, our clarity, and our sense of well-being. Whether we call it energy, mental health, or emotional balance, these experiences all have a very real impact on us. So what changes your guys' energy state the fastest? Anything?
I would say centering. Getting back to center, which for me includes quieting the mind, the monkey mind, and getting back to soul. I think that it's all about being aware of your energy, and then you will know what's affecting it.
Yeah.
When you're saying centering, you're basically saying grounding, right?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it. Centering, getting back to your center where however anyone does any spiritual practice or meditative practice, mine would be either to chant or to meditate or to
get into a
channel.
plastic clear box in the middle of the city street naked, right?
No, but I have healed from that. and you know what I did? I pictured myself sitting down and channeling.
Okay.
And I went, ha ha, acrylic can't keep me from God. So, that's how I had, that took a while, by the way. That took a few years to get out of that hell.
Yeah.
I was in it, but that was the fear of it. I don't think that I was always mirrored.
Right.
And so I overcompensated by mirroring others. And then I had to question my own center or whatever. But
how about you, Kels? What instantly drains your energy?
Oh, what instantly drains it? I'm like, there's a lot of things. People drain my energy. Just being around someone who's just a negative Nancy, that's draining. Yeah. Or just being out in public when there's too many. Oh my God. I'm like, am I going to talk about this? Well, like when I go to Costco and there's a lot of visitors, people visiting the islands that come to Costco.
Oh yeah.
That is like draining energy, right? Because everybody's a little bit frantic. They want to get their necessities and all the stuff. And so they're kind of pushy.
That's pretty much my experience in any mainland. Costco. Yeah, that's any Costco. That's why I don't go to Costco for that.
That's why you have to get samples.
Everybody's just kind of like, it's almost like those things where they have those sales and they have, it's like, okay, at 8:00 exactly, we're going to open the doors, and they open the doors and all these people just start pushing. That's what Costco feels like to me.
But it does take a while to get into the aloha. Well, I used to say it takes a couple of days for me to get into that slower pace.
Well, what's really funny is that when like us locals are kind of like, we know that this is happening, right? And so when you see another local, you kind of give each other the look like, we're just trying to get away from these visitors.
Yep, I don't blame you.
You get the look like, oh, yep, you're feeling it too. Yeah, me too. Let's get out of here.
I make a local go with me to Costco.
Have you guys ever had experienced a change in energy, but then you don't notice it until someone else points it out to you?
I think working with energy and in the psychic space as the three of us do, we're probably more aware of our own energy and the differences or ups and downs. But when someone else that you trust says, hey, you feel off, just the other day, my friend Danny said, "Are you okay? Your light seems dim." And I'm like, I thought I was faking it really well, via text, but apparently not. And I'm like, she called me out on that, And then I told her, yeah, I'm kind of dealing with this stuff, but I didn't want to give it to you.
It was the same thing with Kelsey this morning when she came in. We both knew. It's like, okay.
When you know someone, you can really tell.
Yeah.
Strangers are what is confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, until you learn people's, tricks and whatever, and how they express themselves.
Yeah. Well, I think it's most obvious when it's hitting your wound. That's when I think you notice
triggering
it the most. Yeah. Like I think that's when it's most obvious.
Well, give me an example.
So if Jenni has a problem with, I'm making this up. This isn't real.
Okay, I hope not.
For entertainment purposes only.
No, of course this isn't real. I'm going to just make it dramatic. But if Jenni has a problem with being spoken over, right? So I'm trying to silence her, and that's not my problem, right? And Cliff starts to speak over us, and he keeps cutting us off. Jenni might feel
triggered.
She might feel triggered, so she might be like, "Hey, what the hell? Why is the energy's off?"
And I'll be like, "Hey, Cliff, shut up." No,
but it's not affecting me, right? Because it's not a wounding. So it's kind of I don't know what's going on. What are you guys talking about?
Why do I have to be the bad guy in this example?
She just made me the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's say that's because we were talking about how I asked her if she was okay at the beginning of this session.
We both saw that though. We both looked at it and was like, okay.
Yeah, and that's interesting because often people aren't aware of their wounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
But God enters through the wound.
Now, see, I think that becomes when you're not aware of your wounds, that's when you're not aware of a lot of things then, I think when you're more in touch with who you are, I don't think I don't think somebody you would have a change in energy that you didn't know. That somebody else had to tell you about.
Right. That's
oh my
the matrix.
God, I'm feeling bad. It's like, no, you'd know it if you're connected. It's when you're not connected where somebody says are you feeling bad? And they're like, no, maybe I am. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, it happens all the time. When, okay, I'll use myself as an example.
There we go.
Okay. All righty. Let's go.
When Cliff was channeling one time and he's like, "Oh, Kelsey, I'm getting that you're holding lots of anger." And I was kind of like, what the hell are you freaking talking about?
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah. No, I didn't know I had anger.
Oh.
But so it's that kind of, am I even on the right question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no right question here.
It's right because Cliff got that channeling one on point, huh?
Yeah.
So then later, did you identify that you were angry or did you investigate what he was picking up on?
Yeah. Yeah, I did investigate. And
Okay.
I think the anger, do you guys want me to share that?
Yeah.
Well, if you're
Okay.
willing to, yeah.
Well, I think the anger came from being told something about myself. So if someone's like, "Oh, well, you're not intentional about hurting people's feelings," or anytime someone told me a little bit about myself, it would trigger the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And so when Cliff is like, "You're angry," I was like, right.
Right.
Initial
you were
reactions
reactive.
whatever.
You were reactive.
You know anything? Yeah, I was reacting.
Yeah. That's actually a beautiful moment of insight.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of like, oh my God.
And some
there
very
it
good
is.
channeling too. I would say.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's hard to say. So because Cliff was channeling it, it wasn't his mind saying
No.
you're angry. It wasn't visible.
No.
So someone in the higher up said, "Hey, maybe Kelsey needs to look at this."
Yeah.
And anger
Kelsey
isn't
did.
bad. Yeah.
She did for 4 weeks. Okay.
All right, you guys. Well, so energy. Maybe energy is spiritual. Maybe it's biological. Maybe it's emotional awareness. Or maybe it's all three connected in ways we still don't fully understand. I'm going to go with that. I think there's so much that we don't understand in just existing on Earth, much less energy.
And once we understand, we don't need to be here anymore.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh.
It's kind of true.
I
Kind of
know.
done.
Then I'm going to wait until the moment I die and go I get it.
Yep. Exactly. I get it all.
All right. Well, whatever your beliefs about energy, one thing is clear. Human beings are constantly feeling, sensing, and responding to the world around them in ways that we don't always fully understand. So please stay curious, stay grounded, and pay attention to what you feel. Trust your intuition, but keep asking questions. All right, you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next time. My name's Cliff.
I'm Jenny. Thank you. And don't dim your light.
I'm Kelsey. See ya.